The Sciforror Film Podcast. Going to start with a heartfelt apology.
Oh yeah, because we screwed up. Oh,
No, we both. You ready?
Yep.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. And I'd like to start with a heartfelt apology to all of the people tuning in, who may be tuning in expecting to receive a review of the film Cannibals versus Carpet Fitters. Unfortunately, due to an administrative error, last week you were told the wrong news, wrong information, and this week we are in fact not reviewing Cannibals versus Carpet Fitters, but we are actually reviewing the feature film Bram Stoker's Dracula. I apologise profusely to all of the listeners, and I hope this doesn't spoil your listening pleasure. Thank you.
Well, at least I got one thing right and said we are doing features.
Hello, Scott. How you doing? All right?
Yeah, not bad.
Good.
As you?
Oh, I'm all right, apart from the fact I've got a clogged up ear roll. I've got one ear that feels like it's got a sock inside it.
Take it out.
Well, it hasn't actually got a sock inside it.
It wouldn't put anything past you.
Divvy.
You wouldn't put anything? I wouldn't put anything past you. Man.
I wouldn't put anything past me either. I wouldn't put anything near me. I'm just strange. Right?
You're strange.
So this week we have two short films, one horror, one science fiction. And as you heard,
we've got one horror, one experimental sci-fi.
Experimental science fiction, yeah, all right. And then we have a horror feature film, which, as you heard in the earlier apology, is not the one advertised last week. But there you go. Should we get on?
You should have said there was a change to the program.
Change to the upcoming program.
Yeah. Due to unforeseen circumstances, there's been a change to the upcoming program.
Yes. Due to unforeseen circumstances, this week's gathering of mediums is cancelled. I don't know what I'm talking about. No, listen, right. Yes. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
The first film is a short film from 2021 called Shirts versus Skins, which is advertised as a sport horror film made by our friends at Deformed Lunchbox, who we will be talking to.
Yes.
Or have.
Yeah, it's weird.
In some kind of strange time travel weirdness.
It's going to be some sort of time travel weirdness because we already have, but it's not come out yet, and you will find out after this.
Yeah.
Anyway, very weird way to say it. Yeah.
The crew on this: Jeff Chapman, Sulla Radwat, Matt Hamilton, Marco Duran, Denman Hatch, Melissa Itwar, Roberto I think it's Algant, I'm not sure, Peter Hatch, and Carl Chappelle. The cast is Salvatore Giuseppe Insura, Stefan Lavery, Gerdip Badwal, Christopher Mikalniak, Nichish Bisanauf. Why do I do this to myself? Tyler Mazzuto, Dashil Kant, Sean Maris, Fadi Zabluk, Sonny Atwal, Matt De Silva, and Joseph Frasca. There you go. The synopsis for this says, sometimes we need to put a little skin in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the first thing I've got to say about this is the fact that this was actually done in conjunction with Fan Battle Game, which is an online computer game thingy. And you can, as far as I'm aware, you can still play it online. So there may be I think is there a link with the film? I think there might be.
Not 100%.
I don't know. There might well be. If not,
yes, sorry, Band Battle is still going on. They're still doing testing on bits that are still going on at the moment.
So you can look it up and online, and there may well be a link with the film. I don't know. So, yes, when I was younger, we used to do this all the time. We used to play football games, and in the summer, you'd play football over the park. And because of the fact nobody had matching shirts, one side would wear shirts and the other side would not wear shirts, and it was always shirts versus skins. But in this film, it's taken a little bit further.
I was about to say, when you said we used to do this as kids, I was like, what exactly was in the film? This is a lot about the area you grew up in first time.
It's that sort of place.
It is now, anyway.
It was then. Yeah, I mean, it was excellent quality, as it always is. Their stuff is always good quality. I love the humour of the whole film. I mean, it's difficult to break anything like this down because it's a very short film.
Yeah.
And because of what it is, it's difficult to break it down into any little parts. But the whole thing, the humour of it all, is brilliant. It's just great fun.
I think it's just, I do agree with you. I love the fact that with a lot of the films we said before, there's sort of that very bizarre twist in it. Yeah. And this happened very quickly at the start.
Yes.
And it's just because I played it literally as we were doing this about 2 minutes before to Amy, and she just went, "Well, that took a turn very quickly." I was like, I thought it was all going to be about football. I was like, "Well, sort of right."
Yeah. No, but it is great. I mean, it's one of the few times, I will say this about it, it's one of the few times in their films that I could see the effects.
Yeah,
the makeup effects, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll forgive them for that because of the fact that it's just so good.
I think, I will forgive them for that because of the fact that it's a funny film as well. And I know that's very twisted to say for a horror, especially for that, but it is funny. But the one note that I made a big highlight is the fact that this is filmed outside. It looks like in the middle of a park.
Yes.
I want to know whether or not they closed off a massive area and had to do that, or whether or not they had to explain to anyone walking past when they were a group of about 6 people running around with knives.
You got to remember though. This is in Canada.
Yeah, but I know there's different rules in Canada and places like that. But surely someone would have been a bit worried if there's 6 people over there with knives, axes, and like trying to attack other people.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's all being filmed.
Well, maybe either that, or it was just like, oh, it's them lot again.
Oh, he's here again, is he? Oh, okay.
But no, it is a great film. I mean, we said this before, and we've said it at the end of the year thing. Yeah. Anything by Deformed Lunchbox is worth looking at. It's worth watching.
Yeah,
you will enjoy it either as a horror short, or you will enjoy it as a comedy, or you will enjoy it as something about it.
What I like about this is the fact it's not even put down as a comedy; it's put up as a sports horror
film. Yeah,
and I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, I agree with you. It's the fact that I will say for like the whole bits we do normally, like the whole camera and sound bit was amazing. The lighting as well, to the fact there's no glare off of anything.
Yeah.
On the lighting, I thought was very well done. I just saying this whole thing about it, and it's a sort of the acting to it as well. As we said before, and their stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to say almost anything bad about their films.
No, I know. I mean, Peter Hatch is the main guy, and he surrounded himself with an incredibly talented group of people.
Yeah,
behind the cameras and in front of the cameras, and I'm in awe of him, to be honest, because I think he makes some amazing things.
I think and the fact that, like we said before, is the fact that the Film Lunchbox's stuff is the fact that they vary in a lot of length, but the amount of detail they put into all of their films
Oh
no
yeah,
matter how long it is. I'm like, this is just literally a second over a minute long.
yeah, I know.
And the amount of stuff that is in this film.
It's just I'm with them, and there's a couple of other people in that I've talked to recently, either online or work we've done and that sort of thing, in and around Toronto, around that sort of area. I'm seriously thinking that maybe I should just go and live in Canada.
Well, the fact that, as people will find out in the interview, and the fact that he was quite happy to go, yeah, we'll give you.
Yeah,
It does seem like it, though. It just seems like the fact that feature films stars, big stars, or the short films and stuff like that we've watched, almost every single one we've gone, we love, have all been from Canada.
yeah, no, I know. They're very talented people. Well, the ones that perform Lunchbox are definitely very talented people.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all he does. He goes around the whole of Canada and speaks to everyone that's got special talent.
Maybe. Okay, so that's that one. Definitely worth a watch. Go and look at it. Now, the next one is a film called Winning the Fox Hunt. It's from 2012. It's actually a bit older than I originally thought it was. It's an experimental sci-fi short film. Written, produced, directed, and edited by Christian Doran. Cinematography by Scott Womby. Sound recording and design by Travis Dom. Boom by Belle Galpin. Camera assistance by Morgan Sutton.
Why did you say the boom bit really quiet?
I don't know. Art direction by Gerald Strapper. Video effects by Rafael Flores. And the cast is Pat Mooney, Sarah Golding, Andrew Mottram, Jono White. The dog is played by Odie. And there's somebody called Tim Styles in it as well. Yes, there you go. So there is no actual synopsis for this.
Oh, I don't think it would really help. Actually, no, it probably would help a lot.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I mean, when it first started, I thought it was an animated film. Okay. But it's not.
No.
When
it first started, I thought it was all about fox hunting. Okay. Only just because of the name.
But I thought it was something to do with Fox TV.
Yeah.
But it's neither of those.
No, it's... Well, from what I can gather, it's about an energy drink.
It's about a kind of drug, basically.
Yeah, but
in the form of a drink.
I will say, out of all of it, though, there is one line in it that I love. It is right at the end, and it made me laugh my absolute head off.
All right.
Just because of the fact that how surreal this whole film is. It is very sort of a weird one that you've got to sort of concentrate on, or otherwise you have no idea what's going on. And I don't know what's going on. But it's just the one line where he sits up and goes, "Was that dog real?"
Yeah.
I'm just the fact that I'm so concentrating on the film. Then it come up and I'm just like, what? And it threw me, and I just had to laugh. And I was just like, it just threw me completely.
It had, as experimental films tend to do, it had some very weird video effects and sound effects and some odd editing.
Yes.
But it's quite a hard-hitting subject, really, because it's kind of like, I mean, from what I can work out, it's about kind of drug addiction and stuff like that. Yeah, I kind of know what you mean about that last bit, but I found it very difficult to say whether I like this or not.
Yeah, don't be right. I'm the same. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I like that line, but I'm not.
Part of the problem I've got is the fact that I find it difficult to say I like it because it's more than a little bit disturbing.
Yeah. I think the fact that, like we said, the sort of point that it is about, the film's about, drug addiction and drug use and stuff like that. It's a very again, it's another subject. It's a bit sort of a taboo subject. Everyone knows that it happens, but no one really wants to talk about it.
No,
and
absolutely.
This film sort of portrays it from the view of someone that is addicted to it.
Yeah.
And almost the point of sort of almost like a relapse figures, because they were saying about the fact they knew how to beat it, but yet then sort of fell back into the state of having it again. And
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, it's just a very bizarre film. And I know that we've said this about a lot of experimental films, the fact that they're very bizarre. That's the whole point about it. But I don't quite know how to feel about it. No, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if you're meant to. That's the thing. That's the problem. It kind of leaves you with this thing of like, am I supposed to like this? Am I not supposed to like this? Am I supposed to be left with a feeling of ambivalence towards it, or you know, how am I supposed to feel?
So I sort of sat at the end and I was like, hey, this is what it's about, and it's not really sort of, I don't know, it's not really sort of a educational film or anything. And I tried running it through my head and sort of trying to justify it.
I think
it sort of made it worse for me, really.
I think the only thing I would say is the fact that if the object of the film was to make people discuss the situation or the subject matter and the film itself, that it probably achieved that because we're discussing it. So
yeah, but I think even with that, it's the fact that it's a very odd way of doing it because of the fact that it's not completely obvious what it's about.
Yeah.
Until I suppose they do mention it, but it's not like this is definitely about drugs. This is definitely about addiction. This is definitely about trying to overcome it. It's about almost a futuristic time where this energy drink came out. People started getting addicted to the point when they started, as it says in the film, started taking it in other forms. And it then gets more addictive and starts ruining people's lives. But it's just sort of, it's one of the things you don't sit there and go, oh yeah, it's obvious that's what's going to happen, because it's just, I think it's just, for the subject matter, it's a bit of a weird way of going around.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just,
I don't know.
It's not a hugely entertaining film.
No, I'm saying
I'm not sure it's supposed to be.
No, I think,
but I think that's part of my problem is I'm not sure what it is supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem. Then it's no fault of theirs, and I think it's because of the fact that experimental films, especially sci-fi and horror films and stuff like that, are so hard to actually sort of categorize. Really, I know that you can say they're horror, they're sci-fi, but to actually say this is what it's about and still be experimental, I think it's a bit hard to do. And I don't know. It's just I totally agree. I don't know how to feel about it, and I don't know. Part of my head sort of torn. Sorry, I don't know whether or not it's a good thing that I don't know how to feel about it, or a bad thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm saying it's no fault it is. It's an amazingly done film. The
it's a
cinematography on it,
yeah,
the cinematography on it is done. The acting as well is very well done.
Yeah,
and stuff that's in it, but I just genuinely don't know how to feel about it.
No. So, I mean, it's one I would recommend people to watch and make their own minds up about, because it's not something we can say is definitely good or bad or whatever, really.
I would say it's definitely a film that you need to watch to understand how we feel or what we mean by it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can sit and listen to us and go, make your own sort of mind up there, but to actually know why we're going, don't know really. You need to watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so on to our feature film.
Yeah.
This is a film from 1992, and it is called Bram Stoker's Dracula. Dun, dun, dun. Now, the director of this film was Francis Ford Coppola. Now, Francis Ford Coppola was another one of the people like Wes Craven and a few other people like that who originally worked for Roger Corman. And he's done lots and lots and lots of films, obviously, but of the sort of thing we cover, really, I suppose we go back to Battle Beyond the Sun, 1959, The Terror in 1963, Dementia in 1963, Captain EO in 1986, Twixt in 2011 are kind of the main ones. It was written by Bram Stoker, obviously, and the screenplay was done by James Van Hart, sorry, who also wrote the screenplays for Contact in 1997 and The Last Mimsy in 2007.
Yep.
The cast. Now then,
this will say this is. I went through this and I was beforehand, and I looked at some of the cast and I was like, "Oh wow!" And then obviously I didn't look at all of it. But as the film went on, I was sitting there going, "I recognise that person." And then so I went and looked at the cast, and this is quite a big lineup of a cast.
It is. The main person is Gary Oldman. Now, Gary Oldman has been in lots and lots and lots of films. Let's go through some of the ones that he's been in that we would cover. The Fifth Element, 1997. Lost in Space, 98. Hannibal, 2001. Beat the Devil, 2002. All of the Harry Potter films.
All of them, apart from The Philosopher's Stone, or whatever.
Yeah, okay, well, apart from the first one. All of the latest Batman films.
Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises and stuff like that, yes.
The Unborn in 2009, Christmas Carol 2009, Planet 51 2009, The Book of Elle 2010, Red Riding Hood 2011, RoboCop 2014, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes 2014, Tau in 2018, A Place Amongst the Dead in 2020.
Yeah.
Then we have Winona Ryder. Now, Winona Ryder, let's go through her things. We've got Beetlejuice, 1988, Edward Scissorhands, 1990, Alien Resurrection, 1997, Lost Souls, 2000, Simone in 2002, Star Trek 2009, Frankie Weenie in 2012, and Stranger Things from 2016 to 2022.
Yep.
Then we have Anthony Hopkins, who we've already covered a few times. But Anthony Hopkins, let's go from Audrey Rose, shall we?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Audrey Rose, 77, Magic in 78, Hunchback of Notre Dame in 82, Silence of the Lambs 91, Free Jack in 92, Meet Joe Black in 98, Hannibal 2001, Red Dragon 2002, The Wolfman 2010, The Right 2011, the Thor films, Transformers The Last Night 2017, and the TV series of Westworld in 2016 to 2018.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have Keanu Reeves.
Oh, are we going to go through every single one of these ones?
Not quite. I'll go through some of the right. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which is 89 and 91. Freaked in 1993. Johnny Mnemonic, 1995. All the Matrix films.
Yeah.
The Gift in 2000. Constantine 2005. Lake House 2006. The Day the Earth Stood Still 2008. Neon Demon 2016. Replicas 2018. Bill and Ted Face the Music in 2020. And the DC League of Super Pets in 2022.
And that's just some of them. He's been in so many sci-fi films, so many horror films. We could be here we could be a whole episode.
I was surprised by the next person, to be honest, but there you go. Richard E. Grant.
Yep.
Warlock, 1989. Yep. Cold Lazarus on TV, 1996. Captain Star on TV, 1997-98. Christmas Carol, 1999. Little Vampire in 2000. Doctor Who on TV, he was in for a couple of different things. Corpse Bride 2005, About Time 2013, Jekyll and Hyde on TV in 2015, Logan in 2017, Star Wars 9, The Rise of Skywalker on 2019, and the Loki TV series in 2021.
Yep.
And it also, the only other person I made a big note of, or a note of at all, because I think it's an outstanding bit of acting, to be honest, is Tom Waits as Renfield.
I've got to say, bearing in mind that he hasn't done a lot of films.
No,
his portrayal of Renfield is one of the best ones I've seen.
it is excellent. It really is. And in case you don't know, the synopsis of this says, the centuries-old vampire Count Dracula comes to England to seduce his barrister Jonathan Harker's fiancée, Mina Murray, and inflict havoc in the foreign land. Now, I want to start off by saying this, because I said to you about this the other day. When this film first came out, the only thing that most people I knew had ever seen Keanu Reeves in was the Bill and Ted films.
Yeah.
So
I will say you ruined this film for me.
Well, I was just going to say, but the only thing we'd seen him in was the Bill and Ted films. So we expected him to walk up to Dracula and go, "Hey, big vampire dude, how's it going?"
You ruined this film for me because you told me that the other day. That's all I could think of the whole way through this film. Was that or the Grim Reaper was going to turn up and start playing the guitar, and it bugged me the whole way through this film. I'm sitting there and I could have it in the back of my head, and he's going to turn up. It's going to turn up, or it's just randomly. He's just going to turn around and go, start playing the guitar, the air guitar.
So I'm sorry. Now, I will say, for me, I've got to say this. I am not a very, I don't really like this film.
Okay.
The only part of the film I really liked was the beginning part, which is like the origin story thing that they put on.
Yeah.
What got me was when I was reading everything, lots of people saying it's the closest film version to the book, except for the first bit, which is the origin story, which isn't in the book anywhere.
Yeah.
Which I think is the best bit.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Like there's the actual sort of bit where the sort of origins of behind it and everything like that. I really liked. I
thought that opening sequence was brilliant.
Yes,
absolutely brilliant.
Explaining more about it. Okay, yeah. The version I watched, obviously, a lot of it is in Transylvania or whatever. It's just the fact that I think that is so well done.
It is well done. It's really well made and it's really good. I mean, fantastic. Visually, it is fantastic. It is such an amazing visual cinematic thing. It's just like the film as a whole looks fantastic.
Yes,
there's a few of the effects, mainly the eyes floating in the sky, that look a little bit cheap. But I think they were trying to. I think it's kind of like the look they were trying to get. I don't know. I think Gary Oldman is brilliant, although I just think Gary Oldman is brilliant anyway.
I've got to admit, yeah, I think that Gary Oldman, he plays bizarre characters. I think it's the best way to describe it. Very well.
Yeah.
And it's not. I wouldn't say it's a scary thing, the fact that he can do it that well, but he definitely made his career in playing odd characters.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think he's brilliant, but I do think that some of it is just a little over the top in places in this film. It's just like he goes a bit. It's like gets a bit kind of like raining.
Yeah,
back,
I do agree with you a bit with bits of it. Problem is that I sat there and found myself almost sort of wondering whether or not this was meant. I know it is obviously Bram Stoker's book is an amazing read, and I have read it loads of times. But the film version of it, I almost wondered whether or not it was trying to meant to take itself as seriously as it was. Like, there's some of the actors in it, but so obviously one of them that I know from other stuff. Carrie Earls or Kari Earls.
Right.
He plays Arthur.
Yeah.
He's also been in. He was also in the Saw films and stuff like that. But obviously, the one thing I recognised him from was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah.
Not Prince of Thieves, Men in Tights.
Yeah.
And that's all I could think of. And I know that film like after this, but I don't know. There were certain bits where I sat there and I looked at, and I was like, I don't know. It almost like it was trying to hit too hard. To sort of.
I know, you know.
So I do agree with you. The there were certain bits I did have to chuckle at, like they said about the first sequence when they do the fight.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can't see it; it's just shadow work and stuff like that. But the screams when people died, I thought was classic,
Yeah.
over the topness. But I liked the fact that it wasn't shown. It wasn't like you could see it was just all shadow work and sort of memory like that.
Yeah.
The fact that as well, I don't know if you've got the whole way through it. There's certain bits where that part is actually going on in the background.
Yeah, I know.
When Gary Oldman comes to, or when Dracula comes to England and they go to the cinematographer place.
Yeah.
There's a shadow works place there, and the fight scene that's going on that is actually what shows at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. It's just I think as well that this film just seemed a lot longer than it actually was as well. It filmed over 2 hours long, but it just felt like it went on for a long, long time.
I think, I mean, the other thing that gets to me is it's like with a cast that like this has got, I expected it to be really good. And what I actually found myself focusing on was, as I say, Gary Oldman's acting was a bit over the top in places. Anthony Hopkins was good, but his acting was so over the top in some places. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
And as for Winona Ryder, I got so bored with her swooning and mooning and
yeah.
it's like, oh, for God's sake, get on with it.
It just got to the point where it was like, I do agree with you. It got to the point where I was like,
and I've got to be honest with you, absolutely honest with you. Keanu Reeves, that part could have been played by anybody.
Yeah.
It was really there was nothing about that role that
it confused me as well. So I get the fact that obviously it was the film that was made and who made it and stuff like that is all. But the fact that Keanu Reeves is meant to play this English gentleman who's got the furthest thing from an English accent ever. Gary Oldman's character sounds more English than he does, which is saying something.
Which he's not supposed to be English.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that like everyone else that's in it that's meant to be from England sounds like they're from England.
Yeah.
And it sounded almost like it was too forced. And it's
the other thing I would say, and this is ridiculous to me, right? The one character who didn't seem too over the top was Renfield, and he's supposed to be the complete lunatic.
Yeah. He's meant to be the one that's sort of over the top, and he's meant to be the one that's over the top and throwing himself around.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like everyone else was trying to outdo him.
It was bizarre.
Even Richard E. Grant's character a couple of times.
Yeah.
Sort of seemed like he's sitting there, like, really? Was there any need for that? And it's just, I've got to admit though, as much as his acting was over the top, Anthony Hopkins plays mad people very well.
Yeah, well, they all seem to. I mean, I think the whole point for me is the only person in this that didn't come across as mad was Jonathan Harker, played by Keanu Reeves, and he was just dull and boring. Yeah. Everybody else seems slightly insane.
I feel really bad. I was talking to Mum about this after I watched it, and I don't know if it's because of the fact that she actually said to me, I don't know whether or not it's because I watched the film wrong or what, but I actually started to feel sorry for Renfield.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I sat in the whole way through the film and I was just like, I feel really bad for him.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
That's the main thing that I took away from the film is I feel really bad for him.
I've got to say that although there are some good parts in this film, there's some good set pieces and the visual effects, the things like the way that the shadows move and are done is fantastic, and the visual effects looks brilliant in lots of ways. Cinematography, absolutely spot on and excellent. But on the whole, I found it really quite dull and really quite boring.
Yeah, I agree with you. The cinematography on this was amazingly done, I would say. Especially, you're saying this is a 1992 film. There's a lot of stuff that still hold up. It still tells test on. The makeup as well, I would like to say, on Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Both as old Dracula and the Bat as well. Or like both transforming and everything like that. I think was very, very well done. It was like I've seen a lot of films where it's very obvious the fact is that someone stuck fur to their face or stuck hair, but this would look really good. I will say, and I picked it up and it's bugging me, and I want to know if it was meant to happen or not. But right at the end, right, and I will send you the clip if you don't know what I'm talking about later. There's right at the end they're doing the fight Transylvania Castle.
Right.
Yeah? And they've got Dracula and or Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder on one side. You've then got Keanu Reeves, Anthony Hopkins, and all that the other side. And there's the horses behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the fact there's a little white dog that runs across the screen?
I didn't notice it, I must admit.
In the background, he runs from behind a container, runs to a halt, and you see someone grab him and run away.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be there then.
No, I think he wasn't meant to be there. The fact he's left in it is quite obvious because I see it and I'm like, what? So I had to take it back. I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, I mean, I didn't say that. Maybe off my head. And I looked at it, I'm like, no, I did see someone grab him and pull away. And I was like, wow, okay.
I'll have to go back and have a look at that.
It's just, I'll see if I can find the clip or the timing for it. But it's just, I think there's certain parts of this I think were very well done, and I'd love to think through it. The set design, I will say, because a lot the parts in the castle were filmed at the actual castle.
Yeah,
I was in Slovakia or Slovenia or somewhere, filmed there, but the rest of it was done in Berkshire.
Yeah.
And I think the set design was amazingly done. The cinematography was amazing. Even the sound stuff as well. Like there wasn't over the topness, which I have heard and seen in other films. It just, I don't know. There were certain bits I just thought there's no need for it.
Yeah, I kind of got bored. I will be absolutely 100% honest. I had to watch this film in 3 different sittings because I kept falling asleep.
Yeah, I sat here and watched it earlier, and I started it at 4 o'clock, and by the time I got to about 6 o'clock, I felt like I've been there for about 4 days.
Yeah, I don't
know.
I'm really disappointed because I never saw it when it first came out. Many reasons. One, because I've seen so many different versions of Dracula, it's untrue, and I just wasn't overly bothered by seeing another version. But after all this time, I thought maybe I should watch it. But I was a little bit disappointed with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Given all the people that were involved in it, I expected it to be a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, the same. The lineup of people that are in it as well, and I thought to myself the same. I thought this is going to be an amazing film. It's going to blow everything else I've seen out of the water. It's going to be so well. And so I got to about half an hour into it, and I was like, this is boring.
Yeah. I must admit, I'd rather for fun and action, I'd rather watch the Hammer Draculas. To watch a serious version of it, I'd rather watch the original black and white Bela Lugosi one.
Yeah. As well as this is the bit that I find sort of bad as well. I know it's completely sort of changes the story a bit, but the origin story as well. I like the way they've done it, but it's a bit out of a Dracula film that I've watched. I would actually rather watch the Luke Evans one.
Yeah,
the Luke Evans Dracula I would rather watch than this, and it's really horrible to say because this is meant to be like a cult classic.
As far as origins go, I have seen a better origin thing, one that kind of makes sense to me. But I'm not going to go into detail about that because we are actually going to do that film later on.
Fair enough.
In the season, as it were. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a classic. There are lots of people that seem to like it, I think. I'm not quite sure why. but go and watch it and make your own mind up if you want to. It's just, it doesn't do it for me on any front at all.
No.
It's not a film. I can honestly say it's not a film I'm going to bother going out of my way to watch again.
No, it's horrible to say because it's the same. I thought this was done to hold up and
yeah,
be a reasonably good film. But
it's not even the age of it that's the problem. It's not like it's an old film, and I think it's all like, because some of the effects are fantastic and still hold up for the as being good, despite the fact that we now got all this CGI stuff and all this kind of stuff. But it holds no interest for me as a film.
Yeah,
and I think everybody in it has done much better films. Everybody involved in it have done much better films. Which is sad.
It's annoying, yeah. Right. I was sitting there just thinking, I found the number sequence. Sorry for what I was saying about the film.
Okay.
So it's an hour and 57 minutes into it. So it's literally right on the last 10 minutes of the film.
Okay.
Yeah. So from when Winona Ryder's character and Keanu Reeves' character are standing there talking to each other and she's got a gun point out, what you need to do is look behind Keanu Reeves on the floor and you'll see a little white, it looked like a little sort of Jack Russell sort of run into the shop, get grabbed and pulled out.
Okay.
I just think it's just hilarious the fact that I know the films, the actual film roles were expensive and all that, but
yeah,
probably in the 90s it still would have been easy to go, let's redo that bit.
Well, yeah, but you would have thought they would have taken it out in post-production, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's just like, but the same for the lineup that was in this. I think it was very well done. I think it was very like the sort of certain bits of it were very well done.
Yeah,
I'm torn. I'm disappointed, but I suppose I'm glad that I've watched it to tick it off the whole bucket list of watching it. I'm disappointed the fact that it's not as good as I hoped it would be.
Yes, no, I agree. Right. Well, as I say, make your own minds up about it and everything. Go out and watch it and see what you think. If you think we're wrong, let us know. Send us messages and carrier pigeons.
Smoke signals.
Smoke signals. Message pigs.
Message pigs.
And things like that. And so next week, we have a special edition because next week we will be interviewing Peter Hatch from Deformed Lunchbox.
Yes.
So you can listen to the stuff all about how and why they make the films they make and all that kind of thing.
And what gives them the inspiration.
Yes. And then the week after that, we will be doing Cannibals and Carpet Fitters.
Yes. My bad, sorry. Maybe it's because I'm trying to get it out of the way.
With a couple of short films added to that. I don't know what I'm doing now. Where am I? Oh, yeah. So we're going to do Cannibals and Carpet Fitters, and we will be doing, again, 2 sci-fi ones next time. So, yeah, next week, interview with Deranged Lunchbox.
Deformed Lunchbox.
Why do I keep doing that?
Don't know.
It's because it's the other one. What's the other film company called? Deranged Notepaper or something? I don't know. Anyway, so, yes, so it's Deformed Lunchbox. We'll be interviewing next week. And then the week after, we will be back to doing two. We will be doing 2 short sci-fi films and the horror film Cannibals versus Carpet Fitters.
I will say horror film is going to be very loosely termed.
Well, it's a horror more than it is a romance.
I don't know. You never know.
It's a horror more than it is a Western.
Well, then again, okay, yeah, all right, I suppose. Really, it depends on where it's set.
Well, no, because it's set in England, isn't it?
Might
How
be
many
set in
westerns do you? How many westerns do you know that are set in England?
it might be set in the west of England.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that logic, can you?
I can, but it's not worth it.
No, it's probably not.
So yes, and things and stuff like that, and also to let you know that Tuesdays
Yes.
on Anchor is our new podcast.
We would say that Anchor the podcast stream, not the bread.
Not the butter, yeah.
Yeah, not the butter.
No. Anchor the podcast streaming thing, and it'll be available on other places as well after it's put on there.
Yes.
It's available on Spotify and things like that and other things. And that is called
Ask Us Absolutely Anything. And because some people have actually got in contact.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, nothing to do with films.
No, and really, people out there listening in the big wide world of wherever the world is, you can ask us anything too.
Right, I will say, and this is going to be a big disclaimer, and I keep saying this when we have been recording the other one. Yes, it's ask us absolutely anything, but within reason, please. It needs to be stuff that we can actually talk about and put out, and we're not going to get in trouble for.
Things we won't get prosecuted for.
Yeah, things that are not going to be held against us on the court of law.
Okay. Yes. Anything you say can be taken down and held against you in a court of law. What have you got to say? Niggers. Yes. No. So yes. So have a listen to that. I will put for a limited time for this episode maybe. I will put my a link to my Facebook or Instagram, one of the three sites, or to the Thrave Productions.
Yeah, as I say, it might be easy to do our production team because
the production team. I'll put a link to the Thrave Productions Instagram site, and you can go on there and leave a message on there to ask us any question that you may like to ask. And it doesn't have to be about film. It doesn't have to be about anything in particular. It could be sensible, nonsensical. Nonsensical.
Yes.
Yeah. It could be abstract or
yes. We've already had a couple that have
oblivious to any laws of science and reason.
We've already had one that's a bit abstract, but yes. But yes, as I said, it is actually, as the title says, ask us anything, or absolutely anything. Anything that springs to mind and you sit and go, I wonder what other people think about that.
Yeah.
Just ask us, not ask us what other people think, but ask us the question.
When you're listening to us waffle on about nothing particular, you might cross your mind that you may think to yourself, I wonder what they're talking about. You can ask us that.
We might be able to tell you.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, we might be able to tell you, but then again, 9 times out of 10, we haven't got a clue. We we do make a lot of this up as we go along, because trying to script this would be, I think, almost next to impossible to actually come up with this as a script.
Yes, very true. Yes. So there we go. And a bit of a personal plug. If anybody's interested in music and especially newer sort of bands and things, I do a music podcast on the Sundays, which is called Talking Music with Big Andy. That's me. And I have different bands on there every week and different types of music as much as possible. So have a look and see what you think. Until next time, when we will be talking to Deformed Lunchbox about their films. Thank you for being here, Scott.
That's okay. Glad to be here.
And we will be jabbering nonsensical garbage next time.
Well, we'll be talking absolute garbage on Tuesdays. Next time, we'll be talking about films, hopefully.
Yeah, but it will still be absolute garbage.
Yeah, I know, but this one is around a certain subject. The other one is about anything.
True, very true. Very, very, very true. Till then, don't let the big bugs bugger you or something.
Don't let the big bugs become sentient.
Whatever you do, don't.
Just don't.
Just don't, all right? Right. Thank you, and we will see you later. Bye.
Ah!
The Sciforror Film Podcast.